Alright, this is a game that I had on Ruinberg in the Tier 10 Russian medium, the Object 140. So typically in most of the faster tanks, I go out into this field area. You can't quite do a scouting loop in the 430, it's a little bit too slow. We notice that they have more mediums than us. They're a faster team, but hopefully we'll get enough of our mediums out in this field to be able to hold them. So the best thing to do is to at least start driving out there, and you want to drive directly out there. You don't really need to drive down the K and then up the 0. You want to drive directly out there and see if you can figure out what they're sending. So then we look at our dispersions, fairly standard dispersion, right? You see the medians coming this way, which is good. Our Chafee's doing the 6-line run, which is nice because he should be able to spot a bunch of guys over here. So we can see what they're sending. So we know that they're sending their T-54E1 down the 6th line, which means he'll park in here someplace. And they're sending a 10 and a 9 and another 10 out here. Okay, and then we have our T-54 on this 6th line, which is not a good position for him. Specifically, if they have more tanks than you out over here, then you don't want to be stuck over there. And our T-54 just gave their T-54E1 a nice little hold down. And then I've sort of driven my right track into this little doorway here so that I can basically give this T-54E1 a sharp angle on my tread, but he's going to back off down that line. So I know they've got a lot of crap up here now, right? So they've got at least 5 tanks out in this field, and I basically have this M48 back here and 704 in here. You don't want to be hanging out in this area if you don't really have good control of here, because it's really easy to get spotted and go shot. And so I'm going to look around a little bit, see if I can figure out exactly where these guys are and how many are here. But we do outnumber them in town, so theoretically we should do well over there, even though we're down, 3k health right now. And then remember, kids, crack kills. And then our 430 is pushing up here, which is not really advisable given the fact that we know that they have a lot of tanks over here. And so I'm not going to be able to save them. I mean, they're getting fired on by way too many tanks. Alright, and the 704 is too far back to help. And so we're bleeding tanks on the side. So it's pretty much me and this M48 here against a crap ton of guys, and the 704. So at some point you have to decide, hey, they're eventually just going to figure out that it's just us here, and they're going to own us. So I'm going to fall back, and I'm going to tell the M48 to fall back. Because there's no use for us to die out there for free. And then we haven't been trading very well in the city, and so I'm going to see if I can push over there. Despite the fact that we outnumbered them, we just, haven't been able to get it done. We're still only down about 3k though, so we can theoretically get this back, and that was so here I'm going to just shoot these guys through this little window, and again that shot on the 113 that I just took sort of highlights the fact that 113 really you can just shoot it through the front armor with most tier 10 guns. For some reason this tier 10, this T-57 heavy just lets me keep shooting him. And we're still pushing foolishly in town, so even though I'm here now, I don't think I'm here fast enough to save these guys. So I still want to clear out this town as quickly as I possibly can. We're actually trading pretty well on this side. The M48 patent fell back off of the side that we were on. And so he was able to deal some damage and be useful. And that's going to make a huge difference in this game, even though he dies there. And then this T-54E1 is still on this F line, so I need to clear him out so that he doesn't get around to flank us. And I kind of want to make sure that our field is clear, but it looks like they push almost all of the rest of their guys south. And then I think about going to go kill the artillery really quickly, but it looks like we're collapsing a little bit too badly on our side over here. And I'm kind of worried about them just fast capping, so I start heading back. And then what I want to do here is have a firing angle on this pattern without being in some place where I can get artied. And then the PTA and the 1390 haven't been lit for a while, and it turns out that they were moving around to flank. They just took a little bit too long. I'm just waiting for my light to drop. And then he took a bad route. He should have kept going and gone up through the E2, because he basically went to the only place where either the STI or I could kill him. And then in situations like this, when there's only artillery left, you want to fill the lanes, and so it's entirely possible that one of their artillery could have moved down here, so it's always good to move across this field and then up and then out, which basically clears out this entire field area. This STI could have gone up through this side, probably would have been safer. You just don't want to have too much redundant spotting. And then so if I cut up through here, even if he's down here, I'll be able to spot him as I go through. And then the same thing on this side. As I come up on this side, I'm going to cut across. And so theoretically, unless he's like hiding in here, he's not going to be, which he's against most probability. They're not going to be able to hide from me in the field. And I'm not exactly sure what route our STI was taking. He like went through the middle of the field. And then it's just mop up. But I think like what they did in the field was good, in terms of they sent enough people here. They probably didn't push us hard enough. And then what you want to do from that side, once you take this E9 area, E9 E0 area, you want to clear out the 0 line, and then you want to come across and get these guys in the middle on a crossfire. You don't want to just push across this field in a directly southwest fashion. Because you lose all your cover, and it's a much more difficult push, and so they lost a lot of health coming down here. And the other key thing that happened was that the 48 Patton and I both left this area. Once we recognized that we were outnumbered like 6-2, just leave. Just give up that position, and that sort of highlights this idea that it's important to take strategic areas so that you have some place to fall back to, rather than already be in a fallback position where you have no place to fall back to. So being there, we did get a little bit of damage there, but the key thing was that we were able to fall back and then continue dealing damage. clean up the city, and then they pushed in a little bit foolishly on their field side. They could have been a lot more conservative. Like I said, you can get tanks over here, and you can cheat these guys really easily. You basically get a flank on from this sort of southeast position, and then from a northern position, and there's nowhere really for them to hide. But that's not really what they did. They kind of just YOLO'd in there, and so they were able to get whittled down to the point where I was able to clean them up. So anyways, I hope that's instructive for, you always have to do that sort of thinking in your head of how many people are in front of me, and what will I do if they just charge in and try to kill me. And if the thing is, if the result of that equation is that you're going to get owned, you should probably fall back to a better position, or try to affect something on the other flank. So anyways, I hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta do my stats. People have been saying that I should show the stats from the game to reinforce the idea that we did well, although, I mean, I don't know. If you watch the video, I think we did well. So we were able to get a lot of kills. I mean, again, most of the performances in medium tanks, you get a lot of damage because you move. It's not because people push into one alley and you just sit in one place the whole time and continuously shoot. Usually when you do a lot of damage in a medium tank, it's because you relocated, you kept your gun active, ideally you kept your gun alive. And so that sort of enables you to deal a lot of damage. Like if you look at the amount that I drive in any typical game in a medium or a light tank, I typically outstrip anyone on my team and anyone on the other team. Obviously it depends on whether I live or not, but I think that's a really important sort of part of it, this idea that you're not married to the side that you go to. You can always leave. You just have to gauge whether that's going to be the good call or not. Alright, now that's it. So thanks for watching.